So I'm delighted today to be talking to Raimund Prum.
Yes, that's correct.
S.A. Prum, one of the best known and most prestigious producers in the Moselle. And the Moselle, of course, is a region with a worldwide reputation for fine Riesling. And Raimund, perhaps I could start by asking you, since we're in the middle of 2013, how does the current vintage look like it's going to be, or is it too early to tell?
Well, this is by far too early to tell. Even 2012 is early because the wine is still resting in the cellar. So when we come home by next week, we will start to bottle. Not earlier than that. So we can expect the release of 2012 by beginning of next year.
And S.A. Prum is best known for having a selection of very high quality named vineyards in the Middle Moselle. Could you describe what it is about the terroir in each of those that gives the wine their different characters?
Well, you know, Andrew, there is a bunch of different aspects you need to check when you talk about top vineyards. First of all, of course, the Moselle area has a special climate. In the valley, we have a lot of humidity as well. It's nice and warm, and all of our vineyards are located to the south. They are south-faced. They have steep slopes, that's very important, so we get the sunshine from the early morning until late in the evening. We have the perfect soil, which means we have slate, which gives minerals to the wine, and of course it keeps the soil warm. Slate, as a sediment of the ocean, of course, is easy to warm up and slightly gives it back in the evening. I always say Riesling needs warm feet but a cool head.
Yes.
And that's important. That says everything when you talk about Riesling. So then, of course, we have something more to tell about, which are the old vines, uncrafted rootstocks. They give a very specific quality to the wine. The yield we have is low. That means we start at maximum 65 hectoliter per hectare. We go down to 53 to 54 with the higher quality, and with the absolutely top quality, we are in the 20s, so 23 to 25, but no more.
Great. And the Moselle region is almost on the cusp of being just warm enough to ripen grapes. I wondered, in your time in winemaking, have you seen global warming change the viticulture, and has it changed the way that you make your wines?
Of course, yes. This is one aspect I actually forget to talk about in the beginning, because the late picking is another thing. And in the old days, we never started before October 25th, and sometimes even in November. And the picking lasted until end of November. Nowadays, we sometimes start in September. We start in early October, and we see a change that the acidity comes down a bit, and which is good for the dry Riesling. It balances more,
yes.
But as well we are expecting for the fruity styled Rieslings, we expect more acidity. So just to balance the sweetness.
Yes.
And I started 42 years ago. 1971 was a great vintage, and I had a big fortune that I could start with that vintage to make the first wines. In those days, we had 71, 75, 76, end of story. That was all, but was really a spectacular called vintage within that decade. Nowadays, we have 10 out of 10.
Yes.
So that's. I don't know if we still can talk about the global warming, but indeed it has been getting warmer since '88.
Yeah.
This year 2013 is a little bit different. We had a cold winter, we had a long winter, we had a bad spring season, very wet, very cold, but it's all over Europe, except, and I live in Finland together with my wife as well, except Finland. They had a spectacular springtime, warm, like amazing, so you could think about to move the grapes up there, but it doesn't work.
That's a big change. A question about Riesling in the United States. It's the king of grapes in Germany. Amongst sommeliers here and people in the trade, it's absolutely revered. However, when it comes to the consumer, the most popular white wine by a long way is Chardonnay.
Right.
And what would you say to a sommelier who said, how do I sell a Riesling to my discerning customers?
Well, of course, Riesling operates different. Riesling gives a different character. Riesling is so versatile. It's something different than Chardonnay. Riesling can be bone dry, it can be fruity, off dry, sweet, noble sweet. It can cover the whole portfolio, and I think there is no better food wine under the white wines than a Riesling, because Riesling works so perfectly. You can enjoy it young, while the vintage is pretty young, and lay it down and wait that the wine goes into the aging process. Then you have a little bit more of petroleum notes, and you will be blown away by all the small windows you will detect what can Riesling be of.
I have been. I've had Rieslings like that, and they really are astounding.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Final question. Your family's very new to this game. You only started in the 13th century. So, in your personal experience, what's the best Prum wine, or the oldest really good Prum wine that you've ever had?
Well, if I tell you the truth, my very best experience I had in New York in a restaurant, in a top restaurant called the Crew. It's no longer existing. They had an enormous big wine list, and I found one of my first vintages 2 years ago there, and it was 71 Auslese. I ordered it. I asked them to decant it, because the person I was with me said, we have two chances. Either the wine is gone, then it doesn't matter if we decant it or not.
Right.
If the wine is good, then the decanting will help to open up the wine even better. So after an hour opening, we started to enjoy it, and we were blown away. The wine was young, lively, it was brilliant. So I would give him easily another 30, 40 years to open up.
And when you drank that 71, what year was it? So how old was it at the time?
71 was in the beginning one of the best, one of the most amazing Riesling vintages. It had the right concentration, a perfect ripening, and the perfect acidity in the background.
Did you drink that recently, or was that 71? Did you drink it the last few years, or
no? 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So it's still a young wine.
So it's a 40-year-old wine.
Yes, and that's nothing for a good Riesling.
That's
for a Cabernet. 40 years is fantastic.
Marvelous.
I right now drink 87, and it's not a big vintage, but it's so fantastic to enjoy. And those are dry.
Yes.
Those are dry Rieslings.
It's had a good quarter century.
Yes, and that's perfect. Riesling needs time to balance the acidity, if there is a lot of acidity. And the time is with the wine.
Yes.
If you have a good producer, of course.
Yes. Thank you very much, Raimund.
Thank you, Andrew.
Time today.